For 8 weeks, the global economy has watched the Strait of Hormuz with increasing anxiety. Through this single bottleneck, 1/5 of the world's daily crude oil supply must squeeze into the open ocean. In mid-April, 2 merchant ships were navigating this transit, the Jag Arnav and the Sanmar Herald. Both are Indian-flagged vessels, heavily loaded with energy products, and moving through standard maritime lanes. The transit was suddenly interrupted. North of Oman, both unarmed commercial ships were fired upon by the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps Navy. The attack utilized a specific type of asymmetric naval force, highly mobile fastboats armed with machine guns, capable of swarming much larger, slower merchant vessels in the narrowest parts of the strait. The firing on the Jag Arnav and Sanmar Herald occurred within established shipping lanes, directly challenging the maritime safety agreements that protect merchant travel through the region. In a choke point this narrow, even a minor engagement with a non-combatant vessel provides a regional power with immediate, disproportionate leverage over the global energy market. This map shows the designated green area, a series of safe transit corridors that merchant vessels rely on to pass through these contested waters. The Sanmar Herald was traveling from Iraq to India, keeping its path strictly within these established bounds. We can see the scale of the escalation in the Sanmar Herald's distress call. The crew stated, quote, "You gave me clearance to go. My name is second on your list. You are firing now." Firing on a vessel that had prior explicit clearance indicates a move past standard customs inspections. It is a transition into active military deterrence. To escape the engagement, the crew disabled their automatic identification system, effectively vanishing from global tracking networks, and physically went blackout to hide their movements. Their data track ends here. When the signal finally re-emerged, the ship had completely reversed course, fleeing westward away from the potential kill zone. The incident demonstrates that safe corridors are only effective as long as regional powers respect them. Geopolitical leverage supersedes maritime law. India is uniquely vulnerable to these disruptions. The nation is almost entirely dependent on its energy imports from the Gulf, making any threat to the strait a direct threat to its domestic economy. New Delhi issued an immediate formal protest, summoning Iranian envoy Mohammad Fatali to answer for the firing on sovereign Indian-flagged vessels. However, India is simultaneously managing a much more complex diplomatic reality at its port in Kochi. While protesting the IRGC in Delhi, India is providing maritime refuge to an Iranian warship, the IRS Lavan, pictured here at sea, which is currently docked in neutral Indian waters. The Lavan sought refuge after its sister ship, the Iris Dinana, was torpedoed and sunk by an American submarine near Sri Lanka in early March. This forced India into a dual-track strategy, publicly condemning Iranian attacks on its oil ships, while quietly shielding Iranian military assets from U.S. forces to maintain regional stability. For nations with high energy dependence, neutral diplomacy becomes a series of high-risk maneuvers designed simply to keep the economy functioning. These tactical strikes are occurring against the backdrop of a fragile, expiring ceasefire, part of a wider regional war that has now entered its 8th week. The current conflict is driven by a strict American naval blockade of Iranian ports, a conventional military strategy designed to isolate Iran's economy. Iran's Supreme National Security Council has categorized this blockade as a violation of the ceasefire, using it as the justification for their counter-blockade of the strait. Parliamentary Speaker Mohammad Bagher Khalibaf made the threat clear. If Iran cannot pass through the strait, no one else will. This chart tracks the immediate impact. Every time Iran restricts transit or targets a vessel, global crude oil prices spike, using inflation as a proxy weapon against the blockade. By disrupting neutral shipping, Iran aims to exert enough global financial pressure to force the United States to abandon its conventional naval blockade. The economic friction is compounding. This heat map shows rising maritime risk and insurance premiums following recent attacks. These costs create a logistical cascade. Ships cluster at the strait's entrance, unable to pass, fracturing global supply chains. Short-term diplomatic fixes like the temporary 10-day ceasefire have failed to address these long-term structural vulnerabilities. The situation has reached a stalemate between the conventional naval power of the United States and Iran's geographic control over the world's most critical energy artery. So long as this geographic hostage situation remains unresolved, commercial vessels remain collateral damage, and dependent nations must navigate a volatile economic war zone.